Viewer discretion is expressed for the following program. If you are easily triggered or offended, please exercise caution while viewing this program, because the hosts really don't care. Warning, this show is not for children, and not for coworkers either.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is rumble.com/JJW. I am not deep. You can't turn my volume. I don't know. I brought it down. It's now at 50%. Here.
You sound much better now.
How's that? How about now? Hold on.
Yes.
Beautiful. I can put it over the monitor behind
No, seriously. I'm trying to make our sound better. You turn it up way too loud.
I didn't touch it from yesterday.
Well, then you had it up too loud yesterday.
Is it okay? Are we okay?
You're not screaming at us now.
Good morning, everybody.
Gents.
Welcome back to the... Oh, boy. This is rumble.com/JJW, where normally Monday through Friday, Deke and I talk about the news, politics, culture, pop culture, all kinds of weird stuff, just whatever comes up. Sometimes we agree. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we get into fisticuffs. I've never punched anybody through the internet as hard as Deke has punched me. And this is our friend Dave. He joins us on Fridays where we all lie to each other. Okay. How's that for an intro, Deke? Is that okay? Oh, yeah. Like, subscribe. How you doing? Dave? You had a good week?
Yeah, it's been a good week, man.
Okay.
I ordered something on eBay last week, and it was supposed to get here yesterday, and I'm just frustrated. That's my week, is watching eBay to see when it's actually going to ship.
Is it what kind of exciting eBay purchase is it?
It's a fancy
Civil War
pipe.
relic.
No, it's a fancy pipe. A church warden, one of the long ones.
Hey, I had a package come in this week.
Yeah, what'd you get?
Yep. A couple months back, I backed Graham Nolan's Joe Frankenstein, and got the reprint, and we just got in the second part, Joe Frankenstein 2. So this is now two 48-page books about the descendant of the Frankenstein scientist and how he is being protected by the monster from the monster's bride. It's pretty great. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Great, good comics. Love good comics.
The monster isn't Frankenstein.
Today on the show, we're going to talk about a little bit about some finance fraud. We're going to talk about some funding. We got a little like war stuff, and then we got some other great stories to talk about. Robots having brains. Okay, Deke, how are you doing?
I'm great.
All right.
I've had the best week ever.
I feel like that's not 100% accurate.
3 years ago, I would have bitched, but now I'm trying to really look at this week as a challenge, and I'm better off for making it through that challenge. And that's a really hard way to look at things when you're a curmudgeon, negative person like I have been my entire life. It's really easy to go back into my little, I'm going to complain about this. But every day this week, I have been like, I'm being challenged today. My patience is being challenged.
You know what? It's a massive evolution of yourself as a person that you can recognize the moment.
I've done that for years, but you lose that. You lose. You lose it. I have over the years. So
I have kids that are 4 and 5. So this happens like pretty regularly. in terms of like
Deacon, I can tell that you have kids that are 4 and 5. You know how we can tell this? First of all, you have no gray hairs.
You have zero gray hair.
And you have all your hair.
Yeah.
You just wait. Teenage years are coming, my friend. Teenage years are coming.
Teenage
years.
Look at all the gray.
Look at
You know,
just
look, ministers.
Yeah, you guys, lovely, distinguished, older gentlemen. So you're talking about having some personal challenges in life, but it makes me kind of think like, for instance, you're driving along in the road and you get a flat tire and you're like, oh my God, what a major inconvenience. And like you have this flat tire and you have to get out and change the tire or whatever. But then the upside is, that tire of your 4 tires, not going to be flat.
But there are things in this universe that you have no clue that are happening, and they happen for a reason. And if you just think about for a bit, maybe, there was a reason why things happen. And so I look at things this way. All right. And I have for a long time, but once again, it's really hard because I'm negative Nancy all the time. I'm always a negative person. So I was rushing to the radio station one day. I was running late, and there was a car in front of me that was doing like 10 miles per hour under the speed limit. And I was wanting to pass them. I was already running late. I wanted to pass them so bad. There was a couple of times that I could have passed them, and I didn't. And as I got up to this spot in the road, there's a copper sitting there clocking. And I'm like, the reason this woman got in front of me was because I didn't, and that's a kind of a weird way to look at it. But if you look at, sometimes I look at stuff like that as, you got this flat tire on the road right now because if you were at a certain spot in the road at a certain time, something else would have happened. So you had to be delayed some reason. And because of that delay, that ripples thousands of other people's lives. You think your tire just affected your life? No, that affects thousands of other people's lives because you were not in a certain point in time.
I believe what you're talking about. I actually believe that kind of stuff, and I bet Dave does too.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I for real believe in like God and like actual intervention in our lives. I can't tell you how many times in our lives, like frustrating circumstances have delayed me leaving on a particular time or getting, and then I find out on the way. Or I drive, it was like earlier this year, I was driving to work and there was something that caused me to be late or whatever. And then I get in my car and I head to the office and I drive past an upside down car on fire. And if I left like a couple minutes earlier, that upside down car could be me. So, but you will never know how many of those mishaps you have inadvertently avoided. You'll never know.
And then there's the ones that you might have been in an accident, and so not only are you not in an accident, the other person is not in an accident, and you completely save them by turning around
like
to
carpooling or something. Yeah.
No, not necessarily carpooling, but the other individuals that might be
right
that you might have collided with.
I was driving down.
You weren't there. They didn't get in an accident.
I was driving on the highway yesterday, just driving to the office like I do. It's like a 40-minute commute or whatever. And there's, 700 cars around me. And then out of nowhere, 20 feet in front of my car, it looks like a hubcap, like a metal hubcap bouncing on the road. Boink, 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 boink. And it hits my car. But it didn't really do any damage to my car. But I have seen that same scenario pop out before where it was a tire. And then off to my, corner, like somebody's entire car swerves, hits another car, and causes a massive disaster. So,
if you'll just move here with Sinister and me in Kentucky, we don't have those big 6-lane highways very much. Most of ours barely got pavement on them.
We have zero 6-lane highways.
I appreciate that, but when World War III happens, I just want to be caught directly in the fallout zone and be gone. And you guys can have the cancer and the radioactive fallout.
I'm 40 miles from a nuclear reactor.
Dude, we're both about midways between the largest underground discovered cave system in the world.
Yes.
Very much.
Yeah, Mammoth Cave, baby.
Mammoth Cave is
and don't forget
all of Kentucky.
All of our neighbors, they are just naturally born survivalists.
Yeah.
All the people around. I could
I got a
throw
buddy who makes his own weapons. He
Yeah.
look at everything.
my cousin. I could name you 5 people right now that do reloading. That's what I was going to say. I could pick up a rock, close my eyes, and spin in a circle and throw it and hit a house that's got prep supplies in it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon around here.
Yeah. This is where you want to be, man.
It's very common around here.
I'm all for it. My wife likes to go to the stores, so I mean, like,
I completely understand, but I've seen that other side, the prep stuff too. You can can a lot of stuff, JJ.
Oh, all right. So I mean, I don't really like to talk finances and stuff, but I will talk this. I mean, for all the difficulties we've had in the last however long, this week on Halloween, I finally paid off my school loans, all of my debt. So we paid off all of our debt, and you know what? We ended up not taking any money from the Americans, even though Joe Biden was trying to hand it out. We tried. They didn't give it to us. But I tried to take your money to pay my loans. That didn't work out, so I just paid them myself. And my wife and I have been off and on in debt for various reasons since our entire marriage. And I have a point in saying this because I think there's young folks out there that are like, looking at starting their lives, buying a house, an apartment, or going to school or whatever, and you're going to be like, oh, well, it's just one loan and I could pay it off. It stacks up so fast, especially if you're going to college, and you will spend a massive portion of your adult life paying off debt unless you get smarter about it now. Over the past, I'm going to say 8 years, due to school, graduate school, and some medical stuff, we've had north of $175,000 in debt that we have paid down. So this week was the last payment. So we don't owe anybody any money except for the house. And that's only a problem if it burns down.
If you want to scream debt free on our show, I don't think it's copyrighted.
Debt free! My wife is, yeah, she's trying to get us to Tennessee to get over there and scream debt free. So
Dave's not very far from Minister and myself as well.
I mean, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for, I know there's just young guys out there that are like, playing video games, starting their lives. Maybe they're just getting married or whatever. Bro, you got to budget. You got to figure out how to budget.
Yeah.
It's going to save your marriage and your life.
You really did.
Maybe not as much as
I did not for years. That was not taught to me by my parents. It wasn't taught in school. I even was like when the kids were in middle school, I was like, high school kids, every year, these kids need to be paid a certain amount of points for going to school, and then they have to pay for their internet usage and their electricity and all this crap out of those points and whatnot. And my daughter was like, yeah, they do that. But JJ, you're exactly right. Budgeting is very important. And I would just like to point out that if you don't budget, you could get yourself in a world of trouble.
We got to do Deke's music.
Oh, my bad. Did I accidentally click on something wrong?
Yeah.
No.
No, you got us going, man. But
let's go.
About the playlist.
Oh, well, I think Deke wants to push the songs still later in the show.
Push the song. Yeah, if you're looking for the songs, we may push the songs right before the jokes at the end.
Wait a second. Say that all over again, Deke. Say that whole thing all over again.
Debt.
You got to talk. I'll move my lips.
So, go ahead, Deke. What do we got here?
Well, I just come across this story this morning I thought was hilarious, and we were talking about debt. And when you said that, I was like, well, that's funny. I've got that story about us sending $425 million more in aid to Ukraine. So we're sending more money to Ukraine. And I was just wanted to point that out. I mean, if you want to delve deep into this and get the bread and butter of this article, be my guest. But I just wanted to point out the fact that I know you, JJ, and probably you, Sinister, have been worried because we've been focused on the Middle East. Are Ukrainians running out of money? And so I don't give a shit if you can feed your families or not. We've sent more money to Ukraine.
We definitely need to send
anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I may have to struggle to feed my family, make sure we have enough food on the table, but we definitely need to make sure that Ukrainians can shoot at Russians.
Yeah, that's what's
top priority.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we got a couple of these stories. Do you know, Deke, that over the let's see, in the last 2 years, where did I put it? Here it is. Yeah, here, check this out. In the last 2 years, since the United States gracefully exited Afghanistan, that we have actually paid and funded Afghanistan $11 billion in aid since we backed out of there. Now, you were talking a second ago about 415 million, and I'm like, that's a lot of money. I could do a whole lot with 415 million. 11 billion is a bunch of those $415 million, a huge amount of money. There's a recent report that says the United States and its allies have supported the Afghan economy with cash shipments averaging 80 million that arrive in Kabul every 10 to 14 days. So this is, think about how crazy this is. The Taliban runs the United States out of Afghanistan. People fall off of planes and blow themselves up on our way out. Then they kill all of the people that helped us for 20 years. We leave, and then we send them money every 2 weeks in installments.
The money thing is I don't think people understand the difference between a million and a billion. I mean, okay, yeah, just add a couple of zeros. But I found this the other day. If you imagine it in seconds, 1 million seconds is 11.5 days. 1 billion seconds is 31.6 years.
How many?
31.6 years.
1 billion seconds.
And then if you want to go with 1 trillion seconds, that's 31,688 years. We don't see, I mean, yeah, a million, billion. We just think, okay.
Look, I mean, like
so much difference between those two numbers.
Yeah, there was that meme that said, don't worry, if you ever feel down about yourself, just realize that you're closer to being a millionaire than Jeff Bezos is.
Right.
I mean,
a lot closer
than he is.
I hadn't thought about this a second ago. It's escaped.
It's a big number. Yes, that's a lot.
Massive. Oh yeah. Here's the idea. Here's the thing I was thinking. Like, we're humans, right? Now, even if you take the most humanistic, naturalistic, not divine view of humanity, then we were evolved to hunt, gather, maybe farm, and have a concept of things within our field of view. We can naturally understand the number of things that we can basically pick up. And then we get into numbers that are like really, really big, but your brain can struggle to hold. So you can kind of conceive of and hold the idea of hundreds of things in your mind, maybe like there's hundreds of things here, maybe even thousands. I saw a picture of thousands of people, and I can kind of understand that. Once things get into millions and billions, your brain changes, and it's just like it's cartoon. It's not real. It doesn't like you can't actually conceive of how massive some of these things are. So I guess that's what I was thinking about. Like we're living in a world that we're not designed to interact with.
Now, take what you just said and apply that concept to space.
That's big and empty.
And planets.
Big is an understatement.
We have pictures of. Have you not seen the one picture where they took of the night sky and all the galaxies and whatnot, and then they took the one little spot that was black, and they focused in on that, and they ended up finding like 100 billion other galaxies in that black spot that was in our picture that we couldn't see. So
yeah, I mean, they're just so far away. The light is so faint. If you are going to go into massive amounts of debt to go to college, I recommend taking astronomy. It's super fun. Love that class. For real.
Only if you're going to do something with it.
So not only have we been funding Afghanistan and obviously Ukraine, a little bit of Ukraine, a lot of Afghanistan. I mean, pallets of cash to Afghanistan every 2 weeks. Not sure why. The House has, in support of our friends in Israel, the House Republicans have finally got their shit together, elected a speaker, and the number one priority, obviously, it's not Hawaii, it's not East Palestine where train crashes and chemical fires and stuff like that. No, funding for Israel. The House has passed a standalone funding for Israel, $14.3 billion, so that we can help Israel kill Hamas or Palestinians, or maybe, I don't know, somebody. Just somebody's going to get killed for sure, right?
Innocent people.
Yeah. The House of Representatives passed legislation to send $14.3 billion in emergency funding to Israel and to cut $14.3 billion from IRS funding. They're going to pay for what we're sending Israel to blow up Palestinians. But they're going to pay for it by cutting the IRS.
They've got, today is November the 3rd, Friday, November the 3rd, 2023. They have 366 days left before their queen gets taken and checkmate. So they must move some rooks and some knights and some bishops into some spots that are going to be not so desirable spots. Okay. I think they know their time is numbered. The
Republicans in the House?
No, I think Democrats know.
Oh. Public. I mean, you could look at polls. I don't know how much you trust polls right now, but people are not real happy with Joe Biden, and they're not real happy with Democrats, and they're not real happy with Black Lives Matter. They're not happy with Antifa. They're not happy with woke stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Destroyed Bud Light.
I think the people that I think they know their time is not. If it was me, I would be having like 6 contingency plans already on the books, ready to go.
I would make things really, really. I would set the stage so that my predecessors walk into a complete and total mess and fail, so I can say, look, they failed. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I were a politician.
I mean, if
I knew I was going down, I would totally screw up the next person
that's always the game. You take credit for the people that came before you, whatever they did that worked, you take credit for it. And whatever you do that screws up, you blame the opposition because either they didn't support it enough. Oh, they didn't do socialism quite enough, and so it didn't work. They sabotaged it. So, okay. What do you think about the idea of the IRS getting cut $14.3 billion in funding? Because I think that's
no comment. Yeah, no comment on the Internal Revenue Service.
Oh, you sons of bitches! Hold on, I'm gonna be also Deke. Just hang on, I'm gonna also Deke. There. All right.
No. So say, ask your question again about the Internal Revenue Service.
Oh, well, I mean, do you have any thoughts about it? Because Chuck Schumer says that if this funding.
What do I think about the Internal Revenue Service?
Yeah,
is that what
you're asking? What do you think about the IRS?
I think it's completely against the law what they do to us. And I think it's been a scam that they've been doing to us for a century now, or however long it's been. And that's what I believe. I still file my freaking taxes.
Yeah,
I still pay my taxes, but I know people that don't and haven't for decades. And I have asked them why. They have educated me on why they believe it. I have went on to further read on certain things that I was curious about. I have listened to people that were former IRS agents talk about how they spent their life looking for this law and they could never find it. So my idiotic conspiracy theory, moronic theory belief is that it's unconstitutional and we shouldn't be paying it. But I still do it. I
won't say that I'm not quite to that spot yet, Deke.
Okay.
But I will say there are so many loopholes that people take advantage of and create. I know some individuals who create a business for its sole purpose to fail so they can write stuff off on taxes left and right. And to me, I'm just like, really? I mean, I probably, well, I don't know. I have no clue.
So,
I would love to see a statistic showing how much I pay in taxes versus how much my elected officials pay in taxes. I mean, I know they make some of them will make their tax returns available. Some.
Well, yeah. Hey, here's some good news. Your elected representative, your House representative,
yes,
he's going to have to pay a little bit more taxes.
Yes,
because they just voted to raise their wages $34,000. That's part of one of the things they voted on recently. So he's making more money, so he's going to have to pay more taxes.
I'm glad they got a raise because we're in a recession, and I'm really worried that the politicians are not going to be able to feed their families.
Yeah. Especially with everything going up.
Yeah, with everything going up, that's
crazy. I mean, you don't want hungry lawmakers. They might do something irrational. They could get hangry on the floor of the.
You're right. I've been hungry before.
Hey, so you guys reminded me of something. One of the things, Deke, I told you a couple of days ago, I went to get my sample ballot to see what I would be voting on Tuesday, right. And then I couldn't read it because it's gobbledygook nonsense language. So then I went to the parties and I was like, what am I supposed to think about this? Libertarians, what am I supposed to think about this? Republicans? And it turns out Texas will be one of the first states in the union to vote on Tuesday on Constitutional Amendment Proposition 3, prohibiting the imposition of an individual wealth or net worth tax. So right now, the IRS taxes you based on how much you earn in your money. But some states are out there thinking, hey, maybe we should just tax people for how much they have. What do you think about funding wars with by literally stealing the wealth from your neighbors? That would be something.
I wish they would tax me for how much I have rather than how much I earn.
Oh no, it would probably
please do that to me. I wouldn't be paying hardly anything.
Oh, you're okay with replacing income tax with wealth tax?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, tax me on how much I have in the bank. I dare you. I dare you to.
All right. Well, Texas is going to vote that down if Texans will read the proposition. I'm not sure they will. And if you're out there and you're listening, you're watching in Texas, first of all, God bless Texas. It's the greatest country on earth. Second of all, vote yes on Proposition 3 on Tuesday.
Exactly. That's what I was fixing to say. This could be a responsibility of someone who feels, strongly about that this is where this comes in. You can start the Texans Against blah, blah, blah Foundation, and you and your buddies can buy some ad time on billboards and television stations and stuff and say, hey, this thing you're voting for is written in a bunch of garbage. Here's what it really means. It means this. We're just trying to educate. You know what I'm saying?
I printed up my sample ballot, and I want to make you feel a little bit bad, JJ. This is mine. It's got pictures.
Oh,
that's my sample ballot. Here's what your politicians look like.
I feel a certain way about that. Is that a ballot advisory from a party, or is that the state ballot?
No, this is from the state ballot.
Wow, that seems like that could get somebody sued for racism. Hey, Do-Good asks if Texas is a country.
Yes.
And the answer depends on who you talk to, sir.
Yes, that is. Honestly, Do-Good, the United States is 50 separate countries.
Yeah.
Well, there's 4 commonwealths, Deke.
Four commonwealths.
56 states, but they're all separate countries.
Yeah, they're all separate countries. It really, because I can go 20 minutes north to Illinois and the laws are completely different up there in Illinois than they are here in Kentucky. And if I can go buy marijuana in Illinois and then go across the Ohio River and immediately get pulled over and get a ticket for it.
Possession.
And if you're going to Illinois to go get gas and you happen to have your rifle or your handgun in your car, you cross that border, you could be in real trouble.
So one of our friends went to Chicago recently, and we were talking to her about the trip and whatnot, and she was like, she carries. Most everybody down here carries. Women, men, it don't matter. There's a large percentage that do. And she was saying that was one of the things that she had to do without was her handgun that she always carried on her, because she was going into Illinois and she didn't want to take the risk of getting pulled over and with the laws in Illinois and stuff. And I'm like,
right.
Oh, that was a good point. But she was going to Chicago, and she really probably needed an AK-47.
I mean, here's the good thing about Chicago, though. I mean, there's not a lot of good things about Chicago, but if you've ever played, say, Fallout or Call of Duty or whatever, and as a character you're running around and like, oh, your gun's out of ammo, you can just throw it down and pick up another one laying on the ground, because they're just laying all over the places next to the dead bodies from people getting constantly murdered in Chicago.
There's med packs on the ground too.
Getting back to what he said, though, isn't Texas trying to secede again?
Well, we have a perpetual kind of Texas nationalist organization. He asked a different question. We have a Texas nationalist. It's not a political party per se as much as an advocacy group, and we are trying. I'm not part of. I'm not a joiner of groups. The Texas National Party is attempting to get it onto the ballot for Texans to vote whether or not we want to secede from the Union, and then if we do, we would then make our own country.
Look,
formally.
Look. Do-Good says, I used to go to Tennessee to get beer because you couldn't buy any in Callaway County. Yes, you couldn't buy any beer there in Murray, where he went to school, which is just one county down from me. So we called that, and Do-Good will remember this. He might not remember the name of the place, but we called that going down south. You went down south. Where are you going? We're going down south. You need anything? Yeah, give me, that's what you would say. We're going down south. And there were two places down south. There was one little liquor store that was right across the Tennessee line that was called Max's. I don't know if you remember that or not. It was called Max's. Max's Do-Good does not exist anymore. And you would go down to the Big Apple Cafe, which was about another 4 or 5 miles, and that was a little restaurant that all the college kids would go party at. So that's what Do-Good lives in Germany now, for those that don't know. And we met.
They don't have any beer there
on our video game. Yeah, Germany does not have any kind of beer whatsoever.
Wait, so was your county dry, or was it the whole state, or what?
The county was dry. No. There was several counties.
Our county was dry until 7 years ago.
Yeah, our county only went wet like 10 years ago or something like that. We were always dry.
Kentucky is famous for whiskey.
Moonshine.
And moonshine.
Bourbon.
Yeah. And you had a dry county.
In our area, we have these, it's a national park now. It's called Land Between the Lakes, LBL. And that is where the legends say that Al Capone and all those guys during the Prohibition, they would come halfway down in Illinois, and the people from LBL that made the moonshine in the woods would come halfway up, and they would meet halfway. And all the Chicago illegal Prohibition moonshine was made here in Kentucky. We've gotten way off topic.
Way off topic. All right. Let's see. All right. So we are going to send money to. We're going to send money to Ukraine to make sure that we kill Russians. We're going to send money to Israel to make sure that we kill Hamas or Palestinians or just whoever's in the way. And we are going to try to kill the IRS, but Joe Biden and Chuck Schumacher, what the hell is his name? Shoemaker?
I don't know.
Cobbler?
Whatever.
Cobbler?
Chucky Gobbler is going to probably block it, and they're going to have to do some compromise on that, sending that money to Israel. We are sending money to Afghanistan all the time. Not sure why, but it's for sure going to the Taliban. And in response, we are importing some people that kind of want to do some bad stuff here in America. Here is a report in Texas, in Houston. I'm not sure this is the best place for this guy to do this, to be honest. So I'm glad he was caught before anything could happen. Yeah. A Jordanian has been arrested in Texas who was plotting to attack a Jewish gathering. So this guy, let's get his name. So Haib Abayash who's 20 years old, was in the United States on an expired non-immigrant visa, and he was making statements to other people about killing individuals of a particular religious faith. So he's talking about killing Jews. Here in Houston, referenced an event in Houston from members of a particular religious group, according to a federal court judge who ordered that he be detained pending trial. Abayash has been in direct contact with others who share a radical mindset and has been conducting physical training and is trained with weapons to possibly commit an attack. So this fella right here was thinking that he was going to be, I don't know, a martyr, maybe. I don't know what happened. He got radicalized, and he was going to attack folks, but he got caught out here in Houston. FBI Director Chris Wray said Tuesday, before the Senate Committee on Homeland Security, he alluded to Abayash, though the nation's top law enforcement official did not mention him by name. The reality is that the terrorism threat has been elevated throughout 2023, but the ongoing war in the Middle East has raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the United States to a whole other level. Here in the United States, our most immediate concern is that if violent extremists and individuals or small groups will draw inspiration from events in the Middle East to carry out attacks against Americans and going on their daily lives. This includes not just homegrown violent extremists inspired by foreign terrorist organizations, but also domestic violent extremists targeting Jewish or Muslim communities. So we have an actual real-life foreign threat crossed into our country, stayed here beyond his due time, plotting and planning to kill Jews or some event here in Houston. And FBI Director Chris Wray took that and leaped to domestic violent extremists and is implying MAGA and red hats and preppers and things like that. And so therefore give us more power. Oh, no.
This guy came in. This guy came in legally, correct?
It says that it was a non-immigrant visa, so he might have been here. I don't know his particular history, but it said non-immigrant visa.
Correct. So he could have come here for studies. He could have come here for work.
At 20 years old, it probably was study.
What the thing that I would be concerned about happening is not he's been training, so that means there's someone else. He's been with other groups, so it's not just one person. I would be worried about some kind of orchestrated attack that would happen across the U.S. on like the same day, like a 9/11 style event, not necessarily attacking the towers, but could you imagine the chaos and the pandemonium that would break out if you had like 12 or 15 or 3 dozen instances happen at the same time across the U.S.?
I think that's the real threat. This guy is, let's just assume he was a college student and, he's got deep sympathies to stuff in the Middle East and, therefore easily radicalizable. This guy's not organized. He's not smart. He's not trained. And so he doesn't know how to circumvent being, caught out. But we have millions of people coming across our border, which means we have thousands potentially that are trained in op security but maybe. But I mean, the reality is it's probably a small fraction of people that can get through that are actual, terrorist threats. But that have
I don't think so.
I would say
the border
illegal entries, illegal entries. I would say that's a higher number than what the legal entries are.
Absolutely.
You think so?
I do too. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I do.
I mean, you're already there's going to be I know individuals who have entered illegally. They're back in their country of origin now. Good people. They came across for a better life, and they were willing to do whatever they could to get here because it is a better life for them. And I don't fault them for that. I would try everything I could, but I just think that this is the best place for me. So the individuals that seek to do harm, they can't just enter legally. They're going to throw up flags left and right. They're going to
of course,
illegally. So I would assume that number. Now it's assumption.
In 2022, for sure, there were 2.7 million people that crossed the border that number includes immigrants that entered illegally and those who sought asylum. So last year, that's the total number. I was looking for the gotaways, and there's a figure here that says that of the 2.3 million, there are probably 599,000 gotaways. So but it's a huge number. And you don't have to have that many, as you're saying. You only need a handful that are organized and know how to evade detection. This guy is not the threat, but he is a warning flag that there are actual people out there that are dangerous, and we're not safe.
I got your story, JJ. Are you done?
Please.
You have.
I'm done.
Okay,
I'm done.
I'm done with all this
war stuff.
Yeah, I just had I had one quick story here from the wow. I sure didn't see this coming file. I mean, this was completely out of left. Didn't see this coming at all. But the Beyond Meat has cut production workforce by 19% as plant-based meat demand weakens. I mean,
what?
Can you believe that?
People don't want grass burgers.
Do you all ever watch Saturday Night Live?
Not anymore.
No,
I don't watch it live, but Nate Bagazzi was the host this past week.
He's
all of his sketches.
He's hilarious.
They were great. I mean but he had.
How do you say his last name?
Bagazzi, I think.
I was calling him like Bagates on the air.
Maybe it is.
I featured him as my comedian a month ago or so. Yeah.
Maybe I make him Italian.
That's all right.
But yeah, he had a cook-off thing, and it was a soul food, and there was a plant-based meat joke in there that was just y'all need to watch the cooked thing.
I would try this once. I'll try anything once.
Have you not eaten? Have you not eaten a?
I've had several veggie burgers. They're not.
I have
horrid.
never had a veggie burger.
They're not horrid. There was like a 4-pack that were on sale. They were clearance out for like
the hell's in it?
cents.
Is it soy or is it beans? I've
soy
had a bean burger.
Both
before.
Soy and beans. It was a spicy burger.
We used to eat that shit in the 90s, in the late 80s and early 90s. Every hamburger day we used to make fun of them and call them soy burgers because they didn't even look like hamburgers. It looked like a brown thing with little black marks on it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look, it says right there on the it says right there no soy and no gluten. So
would you guys eat? Have you seen the 3D printers that uses the proteins that print out the fat and they marbleize and make it look like the meat and print it that way? Would you try that?
I don't know if I could.
Printing meat from proteins instead of killing the animal to get the exact same thing?
No, I wouldn't do that. How much you could try it? It'd be a novelty. But how much energy do you think it costs to run the machines and to grow the materials to print that thing out versus letting a chicken run around in your yard?
Right. And you get into a whole nother debate on, to me at least, and some people might not even want to talk about this, but to me, this is where this opens up. It's like, I'm a human being that was created by God, that was designed to feed on the energy of plants and the energy of animals. And what if I'm not eating the energy that I'm supposed to be feeding off of? I'm eating some fake processed bullshit that I've made. And that's why we're all dying and getting this shit eating our body alive, is because we're not eating the energy that we're supposed to be eating, consuming and reprocessing the energy that we're supposed to be reprocessing.
There's this whole kind of like segment of the population that's in this social movement about eating naturally and not eating chemicals and not having processed foods it seems to me pretty evident that for the last 50 or 60 years we've had chemical treatments and processing in our foods and chemicals sprayed on our harvests or whatever, and at the same time you can look at the fertility and population demographics in the US, and it's plummeted. So like there's a very real
pushing abortion. I wonder why our population's going down. It's going to make it easier to take over America in 150 years if we can implement this stuff in 1900.
I mean, we're selling off parts of it to China. So, it's very possible that we are inadvertently hacking our biology with the gross crap that we, get at McDonald's or whatever, and, literally destroying our civilization.
Well, and people want to go down in history. I mean, you can choose to try to eat better. You can grow your own stuff. Maybe if you choose to eat better, you are going to pay more, period. When I became a diabetic and I had to completely change the way that I ate, I tried to go to Walmart and buy some good, healthy stuff, and good God, how expensive it was. It's so much easier and cheaper to go get to eat crap. It really is.
I'm really curious about the costs of fake beef per square foot. Like if you have the cost of per square foot of fake beef in the grocery store versus all the upstream costs of raising a cow. You know what I mean? I think that's curious. I think somebody should look at that stuff. Same thing with like electric vehicles too, because electric vehicles. I read a post the other day, electric vehicles, that said something like the equivalent. And once you take all the government subsidies out and all the things that are basically making things look cheap for you, if you have an electric vehicle, the equivalent price per gallon of gas for an electric vehicle is like $40. Once you deduct all the subsidies.
Wasn't that put out by the fuel companies, the oil companies?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Assume everybody's lying.
Yeah, I don't.
Assume
know
everybody's lying. All right. What else do we have?
I had
Beep, Bob, Boop. We got some AI news.
I had a little AI news story for you.
It's my favorite part of this show.
I gotta let Joe.
Beep, bop, boop. This is AI news.
It's great every time. All right, what's going on with this story? I got a picture up, but you can talk about it.
That's all right. We built a brain from tiny silver wires, and it learns in real time more efficiently than computer-based AI. The current AI systems rely on computer running complex algorithms based on the artificial neural network. These huge amounts of energy use even more energy if you're trying to work with data that changes in real time. So they made little neural networks made from silver nanowires and can learn on the fly to recognize handwritten numbers and memorize strings of digits. The results were published in a new paper this week. Using nanotechnology, we made a network of silver nanowires about 1,000th of a width of a human hair.
These nanowires. S. Connor? Was that written by S. Connor?
Sarah.
Oh.
It's a neural network, a learning machine.
You're nailing it. Pop boot. AI news. The nanowires naturally form a random network, much like a pile of sticks in a game of pickup sticks. The nanowires network structure looks a lot like the network of neurons in our brains. Our research is a part of a field called neuromorphic computing, which aims to emulate the brain-like functionality of neurons and synapses in hardware. We are creating the Terminators, JJ. They are getting smarter.
Well, I may be against the IRS, but I'm pro Terminator robots. I'm on you guys' team for sure. Yeah, for sure. Don't put me on the
I saw the movie. Nope. I saw the movie.
All right, let me get to the song of the day. We've moved song of the day to the end, so we appreciate you staying for the song of the day. We might keep it at the end for the remainder. We'll see. But this week, and I have to go into next week because I'm not done with German bands. I needed a whole week, so I'm going to try to stretch it into next week. But today, I had to add one of the JJ. When I say German bands, what's the first German band? Most popular German band of all time? I know you're wanting
Nina?
to say Scorpions, and I know you're wanting to say Rammstein. I know you are. But I have to correct you and say the most famous, most well-known German band of all time
I had no clue.
is Milli Vanilli, dude.
Seriously?
Milli Vanilli's German.
Oh, right.
Blame it.
Wait, how many Millis and Vanillis are left?
Rob is left. I think Fab
Okay.
Lucio died.
Did he check out or?
There's a really good there is a new documentary on Paramount Plus. I've watched a little bit of it. I haven't had a chance to watch all of it yet. But it's on Milli Vanilli because I've seen a lot of debate and people talking about how shitty they were treated back then. Their story is wild, man. It's a wild story. If you just know, oh, they got, they got called out for lip syncing. No, dude, their story is really, really, really wild. And nowadays, that shit's common.
Yeah.
What they got in trouble for is like
nobody's performing live.
Shit
Give it a few years, and a band will create an album completely through AI. Like the band won't even go to the studio.
Yeah.
Haven't they already been doing that? In fact, not only have they been doing that, they've been making AI songs. They've been making AI songs in the voice of like Biggie and
the Beatles.
And
the
Beatles just released a song.
But
last
it was
week.
The Beatles stuff was there was a John Lennon part and a George Harrison stuff that they ripped from these other recordings where you couldn't hear the piano and you couldn't hear John Lennon as clear, so they used AI and technology to clear up all that stuff. I wanted to show you the real Milli Vanilli. These two guys were the real Milli Vanilli. And Davis has, I think that's Davis. I think he's passed away. But that is Milli Vanilli, man. The most famous German band.
So that was such a like controversy in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
That they had emerged and to be like top 40 pop music or whatever. I mean, a lot of kids, they don't know who Milli Vanilli is.
Oh,
right?
no, they wouldn't even know those songs.
It was a massive, and they had a bunch of hit songs. They had 3, 4, 5, 6 like hit songs.
Oh, I know. I was going through this morning. I was like, man, what song do I want to add? And because everybody listens to what was the one everybody listens to? Girl, You Know It's True. So I was like, man, I love Blame It on the Rain. And I was like, but baby, don't forget my number. And Girl, I'm gonna miss you. I was like, man, all these songs are great. How freaking awesome was Milli Vanilli? They were great. I hadn't heard these songs in years.
I'm convinced that's who Justin Timberlake was singing about when he said bring sexy back. He wanted to bring back Milli Vanilli.
Bring back Milli Vanilli? Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. That is
serious. I'll listen to that song and think of it that way now.
So I think Do Good said this about Milli Vanilli, and it was a scam. So
it was a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest,
this is a good one though.
The biggest German band ever, and they're fake. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. They weren't really a fake band. They were a real band. How I look at it now? Rob and Fab were the performers. The real singers. What's her name from CNC Music Factory? What's her name? Winans. She was a huge black woman. She was a huge black woman, and they didn't want her. They didn't think she would sell records, so they got the little skinny, good-looking woman on the video to go, everybody dance now. That was a very common thing that they did back then. They just Milli Vanilli got busted for it in public.
Yeah.
So they were the performers. They did a good job.
Yeah.
They probably did.
It was a show, right?
It was a show.
They're the equivalent of the suits and outfits that Kiss wore.
Exactly. They were the outfits that Kiss wore. They did not sing, but they were the outfits and the fire shooting in the air.
Yeah, the blood coming out of Simmons' mouth. Have you seen them live?
No.
It's a fun show. Yeah, Kiss is a fun show.
Yeah, I bet it is.
All right,
joke,
guys. It's joke time. At the end of every episode, right after you push the like button right down there, you push the like button, and you get a joke. It's like a candy machine. It's amazing.
Oh, that's a great segue for my joke.
Okay, you
Yes?
go first.
What
Then.
do you got?
Yeah. All
What do you
right.
got,
So
Dave?
this one is for you, JJ.
Oh,
And I'm hoping you can guess it.
Ooh.
okay.
Do you know why the U.S. Army doesn't want soldiers with a sweet tooth?
No, why?
Because they're always deserting.
Oh no!
How is that getting
No way.
booze?
No, sir.
That's a
No,
good
that's not good. What do you got, Deacon?
So, a shark can swim faster than a human, and a human
Okay.
can run faster than a shark.
Usually.
So in a triathlon, it all comes down to who's the better cyclist. You like that one?
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, here's mine. What did the limestone say to the geologist?
You rock?
No.
This could work.
Don't
What
Don't
the
take me
shell
for
are you
granted.
doing?
Yes, thank you. All right.
How does that get applause and laughs?
They're biased. They're
Yeah.
all that
Elgato
studio
thing.
audience is sitting on the other side of JJ in his room.
He's giving
There's
them money.
20 people that comes in that pays to watch this show every day. He doesn't tell us about.
Audience. What do you think of our show, studio audience? Wow, thumbs down.
He
I
already
gotta-
left.
Amazing.
You
All right,
need
we'll
a
be back
cricket
next week.
noise.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good one. Let me mark that down. Cricket noise. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, subscribe. Be back next week. Watch us on Rumble. Pay your taxes.